Hey guys, there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube about communications and radios in an SHTF scenario. But one thing that's not talked about very often is Comsec, or communications security. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that today. Communication security is important in an SHTF scenario because more than likely you're going to be using CB radios, ham radios, or even handheld GMRS or FRS radios. The big problem with these is that anybody can scan the channels and listen in on your communications, and you may be talking about stuff that you don't want anyone to know about, such as your location or locations of caches. So today I'm just gonna talk a little bit about ways of encrypting your communications and making it extremely difficult for people to know what you're talking about. One way is to have code words and just changing everyday words into code words. It's very simple. Problem with that is if you have too many code words, it's hard to keep them straight. But you can use some code words and integrate them into other forms of Comsec. I would not use this particular cipher. I'd come up with one of your own. If you know what geocaching is, this particular cipher is used by geocachers to code hints. But in this one, just to give you an example, up top you have the first 13 letters of the alphabet, and directly below you have the last 13 letters of the alphabet, and you simply switch the letters. So down here I have the word Oregon, so you find the letter O and replace it with the letter that's directly above it, which is B. And you find the R, same thing, switch it for the letter above it, and you have E. Then the next letter is E, so you switch it with the letter below it, R, so on and so forth, and Oregon becomes BERTBA. And that makes no sense to anybody listening in. Bravo, Echo, Romeo, Tango, Bravo, Alpha. Problem with a simple cipher is it takes a lot of time. If you want to send a message, you have to write down your message, encrypt every single letter of your message, send it. The person on the receiving end has to copy it all down, repeat it to you to make sure that they have it correct. Then they have to decrypt it, come up with a reply. If a reply is needed, come up with a reply, write it down, encrypt it, send it. It takes forever. Now this could still be useful if used with other forms of Comsec. So don't just rule this one out because it's a very time-consuming process. So here I have an authentication table, which is something you'd want to use to make sure you're speaking with who you think you're speaking with. Everyone will have an authentication table, and it's simply a number of 10-letter words with no repeating letters, or even 10 random letters with no repeating letters. Or here I have multiples. I have two 10-letter words, and then I have 2 lines of random letters, and you'll want multiples no matter how you do it. This right here is just an example, 4 lines and 2 of each. How this works is when you're calling someone, Once they respond back that they hear you, you're going to want them to use the authentication table so that you know it's them. How it works is you pick a line and let them know which line you're choosing from, and then pick 2 letters. Make sure you do not choose 2 letters that are directly next to each other. So do not say, authenticate line 1, Bravo, Lima, and I'll explain why in a moment. What you're going to want to do is choose 2 letters that have, or with space in between them. So say, authenticate 1, Bravo, Charlie. The correct answer, or, when they say, or call back, they would say, I authenticate Kilo. The correct answer is the letter following the second letter that you ask them to authenticate. The reason you want to have space in between the 2 letters that you're wanting them to authenticate is because if they authenticate one of the letters in between your 2 letters, so if you have them authenticate 1 Bravo Charlie and they say I authenticate Lima, that may mean that they're surrounded because they chose the letter in between yours. You could give different meanings to the letters that they authenticate back to you. It's just it all depends on you. Just so long as everyone knows how your authentication table works. This is something you're going to want to have in place with your Comsec. With your authentication tables, when you make them, make sure everyone has the same tables, and when you print them out, laminate them. And the reason is you don't want to reuse the same letters. So if you have them, or if you say authenticate 1 Bravo Charlie and they give the correct response Kilo, mark Kilo off. Have everyone mark Kilo off so that you do not reuse that same authentication. Carry a grease pen or permanent marker, anything. Just, you don't want to reuse the same authentication, obviously, because someone might be able to figure it out if you do. Here I have a brevity matrix, or BrevMat. And what this is a 10 by 10 grid of the numbers 0 through 9, words that you may be commonly using, to include code words. Now if you notice, this first column and this first row are blank. And the reason for that is, just like the authentication tables, you're going to want to have quite a few different 10-letter words with no repeating letters. Just like your authentication tables, you would want your BrevMat laminated. You would write your 10-letter words, and I'll do that real quick. There, you would write your 10-letter words there, and you can have the same 2 10-letter words, vertical and horizontal, or you can switch them up. It doesn't matter, as long as you don't have repeating letters in your words. And you'll want to change your words every so often. They could be every day, it could be every week. That's completely up to you. But the way this works is when you're transmitting a message, you're going to find the word you want. Let's say scout right here. So you're going to come over to your first column and see that it corresponds with the letter H, or hotel. And then you're going to go up to your first row and find the letter that it corresponds with, in this case Charlie. So the word scout, when transmitting, becomes Hotel Charlie. Nobody's going to be able to figure out that Hotel Charlie means scout. And for your whole transmission, you find your words on the BrevMat get your corresponding letters, and just transmit those. And this works great, you know, with code words. You put your code words in, like, here I have Bush. It would be Charlie Papa. Again, this is something that everyone in your team is going to need, along with your authentication tables. So this has been a quick down and dirty explanation of Comsec and how to use it. Your communications are only as secure as you and your team. But by using an authentication table, code words, a simple cipher, and a brevity matrix, or any other sort of security devices that you can come up with, you can make your communications almost impossible to crack. If you have any questions about Comsec, leave a question in the comment section and I'll answer them as best as I can. I hope you learned a little bit here, and I'll see you on the next video.